Hello, and welcome to the Archive of the Gods. Today, we begin a very special series where we'll dive into the deeper layers of mythology, but not the way you learn it in school. In this first episode, we are asking an intriguing question. What if the archetype of Odin is still alive inside of you? What if that constant search for meaning, that hunger to learn, that urge to see the world through different eyes is actually a sign that you carry something ancient within? You don't need to believe in gods to enjoy this journey. Here, we talk about symbols, emotions, human psychology, and most importantly, we talk about you. So get comfortable, because we are about to begin. Now, let's turn things over Zach and Alira, your guides, on this fascinating journey through the great archetypes of history.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're plunging into some really fascinating subjects today, hoping to emerge with maybe some unexpected insights.
Sounds good.
So today we're focusing on this incredibly enigmatic figure, someone who embodies wisdom, war, poetry, magic.
Yeah.
Just constantly walking between worlds.
And making these almost unimaginable sacrifices, all for knowledge.
Exactly. We're talking about Odin, the All-Father, sometimes known as Wotan.
Right. And this isn't just, dusting off old myths. We're looking at him as a living archetype, something that still echoes today in our psychology.
Absolutely. That's the mission here. Not just a Mythology 101. We want to journey into how Odin moves beyond myth, how he becomes this powerful psychological pattern.
Yeah, so we'll be pulling together insights from, the mythology itself, obviously, but also psychology, comparative studies, trying to get that holistic view.
So you can hopefully see how this ancient figure might, maybe surprisingly, show up in your own life, your own world. Okay, let's dig in.
Great. So starting with the basics. Who is Odin in Norse mythology? He's the principal god, the top deity in the Norse pantheon.
But not just a war god, right? That's a common misconception.
Exactly. He's much more complex. Multiple domains. They call him the All-Father, not just because he fathered some gods, but because he's seen as this source of wisdom, of order across the 9 worlds.
And his symbols, his attributes, they're incredibly layered too. I mean, just his title.
Oh, absolutely. Lord of the Fallen, Father of Victory, Master of Runic Magic. It goes on and on.
And his famous possessions, Gungnir, the spear.
Never misses.
Right, and Draupnir, the ring. That's the one that drips gold rings.
8 identical gold rings every 9th night. Yeah, a symbol of endless abundance or cyclical wealth.
And his companions are just as telling. The ravens, Hugin, and Munin.
Thought and memory. Perfect names, really. They fly all over the worlds and whisper the news back to him. It speaks to his vast intellect, his constant need for information.
Like cosmic surveillance.
Kind of, yeah. And then the wolves at his feet, Gary and Fricki. They represent maybe loyalty, fierceness, his connection to the wild.
And from his throne, Hlidskjalf.
Yeah.
He can see everything.
Supposedly, yeah. All 9 worlds laid out before him. A powerful image of, almost omniscience.
Okay, and Valhalla. That's probably one of his most famous connections, his great hall.
Right, where the Valkyries bring the bravest warriors who've fallen in battle, the Einarjar, the chosen of the slain.
And they're not just resting there, are they? They're training.
Exactly. He's gathering this elite army, preparing them to fight alongside him in the final battle, Ragnarok.
So he's deeply tied to war, but also this sense of unavoidable destiny. He's not just ruling, he's planning for the end.
A master strategist, always gathering strength for this cosmic showdown he knows is inevitable. It's quite a somber, purposeful kind of preparation.
Okay, so we have this powerful ruler, this strategist, but what really makes Odin stand out, I think, is his relentless, almost desperate search for knowledge.
Oh, definitely. And the sacrifices involved. They're just staggering. This is where his story gets incredibly deep.
The most famous one has to be the eye, right? At Mimir's well.
Yes. Mimir guards this well, the fountain of profound wisdom, and the price for just one drink.
Odin's own eye.
And he does it, tears it out, drops it in the well. It's this incredibly potent symbol, isn't it? That real wisdom often costs you something precious.
Like giving up one kind of sight for another.
Precisely. Trading literal, maybe superficial vision for a deeper internal understanding. It's like letting go of your comfortable view of the world to grasp something fundamentally new, maybe even challenging.
But that wasn't even his most extreme sacrifice, was it? For the runes?
No, for the runes, for that deep magical knowledge, he went even further. He hung himself.
On Yggdrasil, the world tree.
For 9 days and 9 nights, wounded by his own spear. No food, no drink. It's intense.
It sounds absolutely horrific, an ultimate test.
It really was an act of profound self-sacrifice, a kind of self-initiation. And it's through that suffering, that deep introspection, that he finds or wins the runes.
These magical symbols, this language of power.
Right. And the story hammers home this idea. Deep knowledge isn't just handed to you, it's earned. Often through suffering, through facing yourself. It's like a symbolic death and rebirth into a higher state of knowing.
So he gains all this wisdom, all this power, but he also knows how it all ends. He knows about Ragnarok.
Yes, the twilight of the gods. He's fully aware of his own destiny within it.
Which is pretty bleak, isn't it? The prophecies are specific.
Very specific. Odin is fated to be killed, actually devoured, by the giant wolf Fenrir, Loki's monstrous son.
Wow. And knowing this, he doesn't try to escape it.
No, that's what's so fascinating. He doesn't try to dodge his fate. Everything he does, like gathering those warriors in Valhalla, is actually preparation for that final cosmic battle he knows he won't survive.
So he's building an army for the apocalypse, knowing he's going down fighting.
Pretty much. It gives him this incredibly tragic yet heroic quality. He knows the end is coming, his own end included. But he keeps striving, keeps seeking knowledge, keeps preparing. Not for himself, but to face his role, his destiny, with honor.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What kind of strength does it take to face your own doom like that?
It definitely does. And this brings us nicely to thinking about Odin, not just as a myth, but as an archetype.
Right, this idea from psychology, particularly thinkers like Carl Jung and maybe James Hillman too, that these ancient figures represent deep patterns in our collective human psyche.
Exactly. Jung's idea was that these gods don't just vanish when religions fade, they become internalized. They live on as these powerful, unconscious patterns.
And with Odin, you see the wise elder archetype.
Yes, the wise elder, but also the eternal seeker. Crucially, his wisdom isn't just given, it's earned through that experience and sacrifice we talked about.
It makes you ask yourself, doesn't it? What are you willing to sacrifice for real understanding, for true knowledge?
That's the core question the archetype poses.
And thinking about everyday examples, where do we see that seeker drive playing out now?
Oh, all over. Think about the student pulling all-nighters, not just for the grade, but because they genuinely want to understand the material deeply.
Or maybe an entrepreneur risking their savings, their security, pouring years into a project to really learn the ropes, to build something from a vision.
Absolutely. Those are modern echoes, letting go of comfort or certainty for a deeper goal. It's that same seeking energy.
Okay, and what about his connection to poetry and the runes? That's another major aspect.
Huge. It connects to the archetype of the power of the word, right? Language, not just as communication, but as something that can shape reality, conjure ideas, make things manifest.
And that ordeal on Yggdrasil for the runes.
It symbolizes that mastery over language, over self-knowledge, often comes after a tough period. Isolation, confronting your own darkness, your own limitations. It's like dying to your old ways of thinking to be reborn with new clarity, new expressive power.
But Odin isn't just wise and poetic. There's a darker side too, isn't there? The fury, the war aspect, the cunning.
Definitely. He's the god of the berserker rage, god of war, and also a master of, deceit and cunning when he needs to be. The archetype includes this shadow aspect.
Which isn't always bad. Sometimes wisdom needs shrewdness.
Sometimes, yes. Navigating complex realities might require a certain astuteness, but it also forces us to look at our own shadows. Do we recognize our own potential for manipulation, for unchecked anger, for using words destructively?
You might see it in someone who rationalizes aggressive tactics as strategy, or gets consumed by an obsession, maybe bending rules.
Exactly. It pushes us towards integrating those less desirable parts of ourselves, rather than denying them or letting them run wild unconsciously.
James Hillman, you mentioned him earlier. His archetypal psychology really dives into this complexity, doesn't it?
It does. Hillman saw these archetypes, like Odin, not as abstract concepts, but as living figures of the soul, with all their drama, their contradictions, their depth.
So Odin's many faces, poet, warrior, seeker, trickster, father, shaman, that's not a flaw in the story, it's the point.
That's Hillman's perspective, yes. That very multiplicity is what makes him such a vital, complex archetype. It mirrors our own inner complexity and invites us to engage with those different facets within ourselves.
It's fascinating how these patterns repeat. if we look broader comparatively?
We see echoes everywhere. Mircea Eliade, the historian of religions, saw Odin's hanging on Yggdrasil as classic shamanism.
Like an initiatory death and rebirth.
Exactly. The shaman figure often undergoes such an ordeal to mediate between worlds to gain hidden knowledge. Yggdrasil itself is the axis mundi, the world axis, a symbolic place connecting realms, perfect for that kind of inner transformation.
And Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, Odin fits that too.
In many ways, yes. Even though he's a god, his relentless quest for knowledge, the immense sacrifices, obtaining the runes as a kind of elixir or boon, it follows that monomyth pattern.
Conquering internal darkness to bring back a gift.
Right. Campbell really stressed that true knowledge, true transformation often involves that symbolic death, letting go of the old self, the old certainties.
The Eddic poems themselves, the Voluspa, the Havamal, they offer direct insights too.
Absolutely. In the Voluspa, Odin literally raises a dead seeress of Volva to learn about the past and the future, about Ragnarok.
Which is symbolic of
consciousness, maybe Odin himself deliberately digging into the unconscious, bringing up buried knowledge, even painful stuff, to understand the whole cycle of existence. It's like a deep psychic excavation.
Yeah, the Havamal, the words of the High One. That's supposedly Odin's own wisdom.
Attributed to him, yes. Full of practical advice, but also profound introspection. And it contains that incredible passage about hanging on the tree.
Offered to Odin, myself, offered to myself.
That line is key. It screams self-initiation. The ego, the myself as it was, has to dissolve, to be sacrificed for a new, deeper consciousness to emerge. It's about gaining the power of the word, true self-knowledge, through that symbolic death.
So bringing this all back to us now, how does this ancient archetype, Odin, actually resonate today? How does his legacy live on?
Well, think about it. Even if we don't call it Odin, the energy is there. We already mentioned the student sacrificing comfort for understanding.
The entrepreneur risking security for a vision.
The writer choosing isolation to create their art. The speaker who can sway crowds with powerful words.
And the shadow side, too. The leader using manipulation.
Yes. Or the person relentlessly seeking meaning beyond just material things. The therapist helping someone explore deep trauma. The activist fighting for a cause they believe in, sacrificing for it. These are all echoes.
So integrating this archetype, it's about consciously engaging with these themes in our own lives.
I think so. It's about asking, how serious are you about the pursuit of wisdom? Are you willing to be challenged to maybe let go of old ideas?
And thinking about the power of words.
How do you use yours, intentionally, to build or to harm? Taking responsibility for your language.
And, maybe the hardest part, confronting the shadow.
Facing our fears, our flaws, those uncomfortable impulses, not to get rid of them necessarily, but to understand them, integrate them, so they don't control us from the dark. It's about becoming more whole.
It seems Odin ultimately teaches that real strength, real power, comes from integrating everything, the light and the shadow.
Exactly. Becoming more complete, more wise. That single eye he's left with. It's not a deficit. It's a symbol of that powerful inner vision you only get by sacrificing the superficial external view you thought you needed.
What a journey through this figure. We've seen Odin not just as a myth, but as this deep reflection of our own search for knowledge, our struggles, our capacity to overcome.
And maybe that idea of self-sacrifice is central. Odin, the god who hung himself. It's a stark reminder that real growth, real knowledge, sometimes means letting the known you die.
So that something new can be born. A new way of seeing, of naming things, of living.
Precisely. In that symbolic death, there's the potential for rebirth.
So, a final thought for your listening. Where do you see Odin's energy, his archetype, showing up in your life or the world around you? Where are you making sacrifices for deeper understanding? Or perhaps wrestling with your own shadows? Definitely something to ponder.